All right. Welcome to Phology of Women and Gender. This is chapter 4, Intercession of Gender and Equity. Those who are curious, they want to stand by and watch this video, you're welcome. But if you still want to learn and do, this cool stuff that here, then you can also pause the video or mute my voice and just read it for yourself. I probably leave that option because again, you have the option to do so. We're going to be reviewing this and going through every slide as much as possible so we can get this done to the next chapter. All right, so let's get started with this. This is basically BIPOC women. This section has links. You could tell we left it right there. You can still see it clearly. If you're interested to know what more about this, I'll leave it there. And I'll probably consider putting those type of things maybe in the description. Though there's gonna be a lot, so I don't know if they can all fit. I'll see what happens, and so on and so on. Alright, let's take a look. Now we have this next section, which is white privileges and power status. It talks about everything you need to know about days of movies, televisions, even things that are within the status. How white privilege has been for many decades, from the early days to now. But now things have changed a bit, and so on and so on. Here's another one. You got race, of course, and you got the other ones. This is mostly groups. You can tell they have the two examples right there from the side, each of them that show the amount and the regions. Got Europe, West Asia, all calculated from there in that point of view. You want to read this much, you're welcome to do so. Next slide. We have the white, and then you have, of course, racism versus prejudice and discrimination. It's been happening for quite some time in the racism is in the system. This was like in the early 19s, so it was there for quite some time. You can also read all of this and pause the video to understand what this is about on this slide. You see? And then we got what is white is right. Here's this one. It tells you everything you need to know from that. And I don't know if there's any, there's no links to it. But yeah, Betty White. It's not raced. It's just your Betty White. That's basically what she was trying to demonstrate this. Something like that. I mean, this thing's been, on for centuries, so I wouldn't be surprised we got this far. Then we have, of course, more research. You can see more research based on men, and then more cultural influences and that what's so important about this. This slide will talk about with examples what you need to know about that. Next one. Then of course you got these ones as well. I also leave links that it has what you need to know from those. Now, if there's any video clips that you see, they're already on YouTube. I'll leave it on the playlist on Angler Super 11 for that part of the lecture, so that way no one gets confused and not be left out. What's that about? They have it exactly from those perspective, from their point of views. And the regular links that you see here are just within the whole websites that are articles based on this slide. Each slide will already have that. So there's this one too. I left more links there. You could see this is common issues of people of color. You could tell you have you could see from those perspectives the different sides and everything you need to know from how they used to do the back then from people of color in their perspective. This is all what you need to know within the women's side, and everything you need to know what's going on from this area. So this is the next one. And of course you have this one, which is colorism of white beauty standards. They had a lot of standards for each, how colored it is. And what I have to say about this is, I do have a video of this on YouTube, so you could see it, check this out to understand more about this slide and what it means to the women in beauty and the standards. And then we have this one. Now, this is not a YouTube video. It's basically, you basically have to look into that link that I have right there on the slide. It basically is a conversation. Now, if anyone is able to know what this movie is, probably you can find it on YouTube. But it is a clip that talks about within his perspective how they function in society. It's really interesting part if you get to know it really well. All right, let's look at the next one. Then we have racial, of course, more of it, and there is the links to another YouTube video of that. So I'll leave that in the playlist on Angular Super 11. He talks about more about all you need to know with the example, where are you from, where you been, like there's something like, things like, discriminating individuals of color. So, it's always good to know, what is this all about, and all the stuff you need to know. I mean, it even did some videos there, so they assumed rather than not, knowing that you're actually from, the country you were born in. So this is really one you want to take a look into. And then you have also the add ups of what you see there, the violence, the justifications, prejustice, and then how alarming it is to the world. It is kind of different and shocking at the same time, where we see this pyramid of it. And then even the rat was white, which I couldn't even argue as much as possible. I mean, we looked at these research all the time. We see difference of their colors. I mean, I don't. It does a lot from my own perspective, but this we'll talk about this slide. Everything you need to know from that, what it means. All right, next one. And then we got quotes from women of color. You have different types right here, and it tells you all you need to know what they were talk about from each one, from their countryside and so on. All right, and then you have this one, Asian American women, 7% of population. Tells you everything you know. Also left a link there to see exactly what that's related to that. That's why it's important to have that perspective and what you need to know more about this slide. And then we have another extra link which shows you more of each one you need to know. So if you're kind of interested, I don't think I could be wrong about my description, because there is so many links. So to have so many links, it makes it very hard to fit everything in. I might as well just leave it on the video, so that way it could be easier. I mean, if there's not a lot of links, maybe I could fit it in the description, but it's better to just have it through the video, so you could able to type everything you need to know from these perspectives. But I'll see if I can cram things in the description. It's still unknown yet. We'll still have to figure that out. So we'll see. And then here's another one. Of course, you have different types of what you need to know of the populations, and I do have a link with that one as well. You have Hispanic and Latina women included in this, and tells you what you need to know from their cultural and what is it at the population in theirs. So it's really interesting to see from this slide. Then different way of looks at the USA. You could look at each and every system with the link as well right there, so you can actually discover what this is about. I don't think, let me see, native land, I think this was here a while back. I didn't see that. Okay, we're just checking. Alright, so now we have this slide right here, and it's basically about the indigenous people. They made up 2% of the population. It was very different back then, and it talks about more of how the link shows the genocide of the evidence finding with the colonial Americans that forced the indigenous people from their cultural practices and changed them. So it probably shows you more anything you need to know about that era. And here's this one, tells you even more links to these. There's an extra slide that shows all you need to know, what happened, and what was in those links that are practically different from what we've seen from modern days. And this is all what you need to know within the women back then on that part. All right, let's see. African Americans, of course, and it looks like I forgot to space this. So let me go ahead and do that. That's why, it's good to have this. I don't think there's, yeah, see? I don't think there's any more in there. It talks about basically, the population they were for 14%, and then it tells you right here at a quote and everything from these examples and the timeline that goes all the way from 2000s and so on and so on. So it is what was changed so far from the past and the present. Then two characters, of course, you have more information you need to know with links that I left right there. So you can able to take a look what those areas mean and so on and so on. So as we're reviewing, we're just going through this. We're typing any links we need to type in if my description doesn't fit, so that we can able to know which one's good and which one's bad. I mean, we'll see. Then we got another, I think this might be the final slide. I'm not so sure, where we could see more and more about the the cultural therapy. So those who are familiar with 2003, these individuals were working towards these like practices to see what's going on in these society of among women, and the relationships. It could be something different. I mean, we have to just look through this as much as the slide it can. So that's what this one slide is talking about. And then you were interested in articles. We left a link as well for this. You can able to discover more what you know about these simple titles. You have them one that treats of color, and then the list of websites of people of color in therapy, and then so on and so on here. So yeah, I think this was interesting chapter. It had a lot of editing how to do to get this thing done, but I was able to get a review enough for your individuals to actually watch and type anything you need to type that may be interesting for you to discover or check out. All right, that's it.